Are you serious? Are you serious? Apophis, also known as 99942. Apophis. This could be what brings about the great coming apocalypse. The Bible talks about two deep impacts that will hit the earth. And the question is, will Apophis hit us on Friday, April the 13th, Friday the 13th, 2029? Well, there was an article that just came out a few hours ago, about 6 hours ago, that I'd like to read for you. And then I've got more information we just received, plus some more documentation that ties in with that was found on the little green file also by NASA that ties in with the Planet X Nibiru. And then the Bible talks about it. When you start putting the pieces together, you begin to realize that this may be the day. I'm starting to think there's a strong possibility that April 13th, 2029, Friday the 13th, could be the first of the two deep impacts of the Bible that brings about wormwood. Is that why and Planet X is causing it? The asteroid is on its way. Here's the article came out in the International Business Times. It says, will this asteroid still hit Earth on Friday the 13th? Well, the question, let's read. It says, NASA and the European Space Agency and even a Christian pastor have identified a gigantic asteroid that could hit the Earth on Friday the 13th, April of 2029. According to data gathered by the agencies, the massive space rock is almost as big as the Eiffel Tower in Paris. After its discovery in June of 2004, an asteroid that was originally known as 2004 MN4, now known as 99942 Apophis, which means the god of chaos, the Egyptian god of chaos. It has been the center of speculations due to the earlier predictions, including that it will strike the earth on Friday, April the 13th, 2029, in a date that is literally could be an apocalyptic end to maybe a third of the population. Matter of fact, some of the predictions came from NASA Near-Earth Object Program, which calculated that the asteroid's chance of hitting the Earth on a specific date was 1 in 60, which is a little less than 2% chance. But the European Space Agency also previously noted that the possibility of this deep impact was even a greater odds. They say it was even more possible. They said it could have a 2.7% chance of deep impact, and that's way too close. It's going to come within 19,000 miles of the Earth, and it may hit us. 10 years from now, it's hard to pinpoint that. That's way too close. Aside from these major space agencies, some religious leaders also believe that the asteroid will hit the Earth on Friday, April 13, 2029. It will trigger the end of the world. This includes evangelical Christian preacher Paul Begley, West Lafayette, Indiana. And according to Begley, if the asteroid doesn't strike the Earth on that specific date, it will come around exactly 7 years later on April 13th, 2036, and I believe it will hit us. Since the asteroid spans about 1,100 feet long, it is possible that this direct hit could have Earth-ending consequences, or at least certainly apocalyptic. Fortunately, both NASA and the European Space Agency have clarified that the Earth may not be in danger of this major impact event. They both confirm now they think that the asteroid will scrape by the Earth, missing us, I guess, by about 19,000 miles from the surface of the Earth, which is inside all the satellites rotating around the Earth are at 22,000 miles, so becoming closer than the asteroids. That's way too close for comfort. And although Apophis initially caught public interest as a possible Earth impactor, which is now considered maybe improbable for the foreseeable future, it is of considerable interest in its own right, and as an example of the class of near-Earth objects. Although the asteroid will not collide with the Earth, the space agencies noted that it will fly very close to our planet, and they're estimating it to be around 18,600 700 miles. Way too close. Now, an illustration shows the asteroid impacting the Earth, and the circumstances of it would pretty well wipe out 1/3 of the population. The question is, do we know where it would hit? Well, that's the new info that's just come out, and that we want to share with you on this Patreon. Where it's going to hit. Where does it hit? Where does it hit? Well, the little green file that NASA passed down began to give us a clue. They know the exact day it's coming. They know if it doesn't hit us, it's going to scrape by us, especially over the Atlantic Ocean will be its closest point. So if it hits, it will hit in the Atlantic Ocean. You see, the asteroid 99942, Apophis, is about, like we said, 1,100 feet wide, and across it will pass harmlessly by the Earth, maybe, at 18,600 miles above the surface of the Earth on Friday, April 13, 2029. If it don't hit, it comes back exactly 7 years later, and all bets are off. Will Earth survive? April 13, 2036. Well, there are more than 7 asteroids that are in the sky that are of grave concern, but this one's the most dangerous so far that they've told us about. In space, they have found by the astronomers that it is to be noted that the asteroids are mainly found in an area called the main belt, or the Kuiper belt, between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter. Recently, folks, we've studied, based on the little green file that Stephen Ben-Danoon brought forward at the Heavens Are Shaking conference, that the Kuiper belt, or the debris field from planet X, is actually shaking stuff up in the Kuiper belt and is expected to hit in a collision with Jupiter on March the 28th, 2021, or at least estimated date. That could be a little before or a little after by a few months, but it's in that ballpark. And Jupiter will be having several deep impacts from flying debris field coming from planet X, because planet X is going to be closer to the Earth as it goes by, even though it's a binary system, than it was 3,600 years ago during the plagues of Egypt, which caused a ton of chaos. But it did not just in Egypt, but it caused some tsunamis and massive catastrophic events in Peru. We know that because the Peruvians wrote it down in ancient writings. We know the Mayans also recorded it. The Incas also recorded it. And the Native American Indians also handed down by legend. Also, the Asians documented it in China. And so did the history of the pharaohs in the hieroglyphics. Wrote it in tombs. Plus, we know we have an eyewitness total account of it in the Torah, in the Old Testament, called the Exodus. Okay? And there were different events that took place in different places of the world, but it was all in the same time when planet X or Nibiru was going by. Now, here's the story here. The Earth, however, the question's going to be, you got all these different asteroids, 2019 NN3, 2019 MB4, 2019 MT2, 2006 QV89, 2016 NO56M, and then there's asteroid RF12. They're all going to scrape past the Earth, but Apophis is by far the most dangerous. It's the furthest away, and it makes it harder, but we know it's coming, and we know it's coming right at us, okay? Now, here's the deal. What happens if it hits? It will cause massive destruction on the planet Earth, and it would be of a biblical nature. Now, the Apophis close approach in 2029 will be an incredible opportunity also for science to study it, providing it don't hit us. According to NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, California, the people working there, Marina Brozovic said that the radar observations of the near-Earth object is being studied right now. Well, it's rare for an asteroid of this size to pass by the Earth so close. And although scientists have spotted small asteroids on an order of 5 to 10 meters flying by the Earth, nothing of this size, nothing this close. Matter of fact, according to a report by the India Today, 99942 Apophis, looking like a moving star, pointed like a point of light, will first become visible to the naked eye in the night sky over the southern hemisphere on Friday the 13th, 2029, flying above the earth from the east toward the west. Now remember what Jesus says, as lightning goes from the east to the west, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. And the Bible, in another place, it says that, that Jesus, when you see the sign of the coming of the Son of Man. You don't know the day, you don't know the hour, but you can see the day approaching. A lot of people, and myself, wonder about this fast-moving asteroid. When it gets into, according to the scientist, it will go from the east to the west extremely fast. As the closest approach of 99942, it says, it will, when it comes in mid-morning, that morning, it will break through the earth, it will go past the earth on the east coast of the United States. When Apophis will be above Australia, it will then cross the Indian Ocean. And by afternoon in the eastern U.S., it will have crossed the equator and still be moving west above Africa. At its closest approach to our planet, Apophis 99942 will travel over the Atlantic Ocean. However, the asteroid will move so fast it will cross the entire Atlantic Ocean in 1 hour. The Bible says, pray that you be worthy to escape the hour of temptation that's coming upon the earth. In an hour, you think not, the Son of Man cometh. Throughout the Bible, it keeps talking about the hour, okay? Now, if it's going to hit the earth, it's going to hit the Atlantic Ocean, according to NASA. And if it does, it will create a tsunami around 1,500 feet high, traveling nearly 1,000 miles an hour, and it will race toward the east coast of the United States. The entire North American coastline, Canada, United States, Central America, and South America, will experience a tsunami of biblical proportion. That's just 10 years away. Is this asteroid going to hit us? Well, we've got 10 years. That's providing nothing else happens. But according to the NASA scientist on the little green file, the gravitational pull, let's say this is planet X and this is Earth, this 10 times larger than our Earth, as it's coming like this, it's pulling on us, drifting us toward it. We're not going to hit it. It's going to go on by, but it pulls us. It pulls all the planets. It pulls on the sun even. It's so big. Does it pull us enough that the asteroid Apophis, as it's coming, then instead of scraping by, does it pull us into the path and hits us? That's something I can't answer. But we'll continue to keep watch and pray. Jesus said, watch and pray. For an hour you think not, the Son of Man comes. Now, we do have one other little promise here. The Bible does say there's going to be a deep impact. Let's read it. Prophecy says in Revelation 8:8, and the second angel sounded as it were a great mountain, burning with fire, cast into the sea. The third part of the sea became blood. The third part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died. And the third part of the ships were destroyed. Then there's another impact. Well, you've got an entire debris field that's being shaken completely up with the collision with Jupiter in the year 2021, apparently. So the Bible says, and a third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as a lamp. And it fell upon the third part of the rivers and on the fountains of waters. And the name of the star is called Wormwood. And the third part of the waters became wormwood. And many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Bible prophecy of the last days. Let me make a proclamation to you. This is going to happen. Does Apophis cause it? Along with Planet X, the destroyer? Or does it bring wormwood? If it isn't, then where is this phenomenon? And how many years out will that be? I can't answer these questions. I can only tell you to get ready, because we are running out of time.